guys, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Mike, your 5-minute dose of motivation and accountability for the day. I am so happy you guys are here. I hope your day is off to an absolutely awesome start, and I'm fired up because we have a really good topic to discuss today, guys, so let's dive right into it. Today's topic is all about habits, and it's all about habits. It's identifying what are the habits, what habits do we have, how do our habits differ from the person, next door? How do our habits differ from those who are, maybe in a position that we want to be in, whether it's, from, hey, more healthy, more success, more happiness, whatever it may be. When it comes to habits, what are your habits, and how does that differ from the habits of those that perhaps you respect, that you want to emulate from whatever perspective? And that is today's discussion, is all about habits and taking a look at the habits that we have and perhaps the habits that we, must put in place to create more of the things we want for ourselves when it comes to health, happiness, and fulfillment. And I'll actually start by sharing, my own personal stories when it comes to habits. And, when I look at the habits that I used to have, and they weren't necessarily bad habits, but they weren't habits that were leading or contributing to more of the things that I wanted in my life, more health, more happiness, more fulfillment. And let me tell you what I mean from each of these. When it came to, habits, my health habits, it was always one of those things where my habit was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do what I need to do today. And then when I get a chance, I'm going to fit in exercise. That was my habit. That's what I habitually did every day. It's like, let me get through whatever I have to get through to today, whether it's like talking to clients, coming up with work, seeing, seeing family, friends, doing everything I needed to do. And then, getting exercise in. And if I'm going to be truthful, more often than not, it didn't happen because at the end of the day, I was exhausted. And perhaps I didn't even have time at the end of the day, to get my workout in. So that was my habit from that perspective. From a happiness perspective, I always, same thing. It's always like, well, I'll wait till the timing's right. I'll wait till, I have more time where, my financial situation is better, or, I don't have as many clients that week, to go do more of the things I wanted to do, whether it was to take a trip or whatever it may be, or, even something as silly as buy a book. Oh, you know what? I'll buy the book next month when I have more time to read. That was my habit. My habit was like waiting for the perfect time to do more of the things I wanted to do that would make me happier. And then even from a fulfillment perspective, my habit was like, hey, you know what? Fulfillment to me used to be like, hey, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll check my phone. I'll check my emails. I'll check social media. And that was the first thing I would do in the morning, is literally grab my phone and check, again, emails and social media. And, and what, depending on what that gave me, the emails gave me, good or bad, of social media, that would decide on, my level of fulfillment for the day. That's how I started my day. So I completely changed my habits, as I read more and decided, hey, I want more for my life from a health, happiness, and fulfillment perspective. And who are those that I, love and respect and want to emulate as far as like, their philosophy and their way of living and their way of being and how they serve and how they show up. And so I started changing my habits. I changed my habits where, like health became the number one thing in my life. I decided, that's the very first thing I'm going to do in the morning. Because those who are successful and I respect and I want to emulate, that's what they say, hey, listen, if you want to, serve and be the best you can be for others and to others, take care of yourself first. It goes back to that whole adage of, when you're on an airplane, put on your mask first before trying to help others. Because if you're not at your best first, there's no way you're going to be at your best to help and serve others. So I changed my habit to making sure health, exercise is the first thing that happened in my day. From a happiness perspective, my habit now is to like, hey, you know what? I'm going to make sure I set aside time for myself to read, to do the things I want to do daily, which I do every morning. I read for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And then even set aside time. My habits is like, I have a date night every week with my girlfriend. That's a habit. And that leads to more of the happiness in my life, things I want to be doing. And then from a fulfillment perspective, checking my phone, my emails, social media is probably the fifth thing on my list now. Exercise, reading, reviewing my goals, writing down my, things I must do for that day, and then just giving gratitude, being, what am I grateful for that day? I think of 3 things I'm grateful for that day, and I write them down. So literally, those are my habits. So those are my habits for the day that literally lead to an awesome day ahead, for the most part, more often than not. What are your habits? I ask that you look at your habits. Look at your habits and which habits must you put in place today that will lead more of what you want, more to the life that you want from a health, happiness, and fulfillment perspective. Think about that and consider starting to change, replacing some of the habits that you have today that aren't necessarily leading to what you want, and replacing. Start with just one. What is one habit that you can replace today? And do that. Even if it's just for today, start there, because again, the small steps lead to those massive big steps. Best of luck, guys. Until next episode, you're awesome. Cheers.